Recording. We can't hear you.
Okay. Welcome to our Team Connect call. It automatically mutes you when you come on, so if you need to say anything, unmute. But if you guys can hear me, I guess that's all good. My name's Heather Justice. I'm a Regional Vice President, and this is our nation call. It is Monday, October the 15th. We do this every Monday night at 9 o'clock. I know we have a lot of new faces on the call, so I'm going to share my story, which is going to take like 60 seconds. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of launching a new consultant. And if you're new, I'm going to be speaking directly to you. So this is what we do when we launch new people. Okay. So my business, I started 3.5 years ago. I'm a nurse by trade. I've been a nurse for a really long time, but I've been in medical device sales for about the past 10 years. And so when I learned about Arbonne through Debbie Thompson, who's on the call, she's got a hat on if you see her. We were actually, our daughters were friends, but we weren't really friends. We kind of knew each other in passing. And I was interested in the 30 Days to Healthy Living because I was a, health and fitness wellness person for my whole life. So learned about the 30 Days to Healthy Living, decided to be a consultant. Again, I was in medical device sales, which is a great lucrative industry, very, I would say prestigious. I mean, a lot of people, I have people trying to get for me to get them a job literally every single week. It's so funny. And I'm saying, you don't want a job, you want to do Arbonne, but we'll get to that in just a second. And so I learned about Arbonne. I went home and I really started researching the business model, educating myself with YouTubes and SoundCloud trainings. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second too. And just decided that, hey, if somebody's done it before me, it's just the best copycat wins. So I can do this too. So I jumped in with both feet. And I'm a regional vice president, so I got the Mercedes and I'm driving that, which is great. And we are well on our way to national vice president level, probably in the next, I would say 8 to 12 months. So that's a little bit of my story. So what we're going to talk about tonight is, again, launching new consultants. And if you want to take notes, I have got 6 bullet points, okay? The first one is congratulations. Like this is, if you're a new consultant on this team, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to know, and if you don't know, I want you to borrow my belief that this business can be anything that you want it to be, okay? And what do I mean by that? I mean that this business can provide you ultimate time and financial freedom and, allow you to do whatever your heart desires, okay? So there are people who do Arbonne so they can stay home with their kids. There are people who do Arbonne because they want to make $40,000 a month, and yes, that's possible. There are people who do Arbonne because they just want to have $200 a month to buy shoes. There are people who do Arbonne because they want to build orphanages in Africa, and they want to fund that, and they have huge vision for missions. There are people on our team who do Arbonne because they want to radically give and be super generous with their time and their money. And traditional thought would tell you that you have to work 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire at a 40% pay cut, right? And so what I want to tell you is that with Arbonne, I've seen it. Again, if you're new, if you've been in this business, you haven't been to an event, if you haven't been and seen what Arbonne can do for you, I've seen it. So trust me, believe me, Arbonne can be your vehicle for whatever it is that you want. So I would really encourage you to figure that out. So that's your number one. It's great news. Figure out what you want this business to be. And let me just tell you, there's no wrong answer. If you say you just want the $200 a month, or if you say, hey, I just want the community. I just want this positive, uplifting, personal growth community, but I don't even care about the money. You know what? That's okay. Nobody is ever going to pressure you or call you and say, where are your numbers? What are you doing this month? Nothing like that. But if you are one of those people who say, I want to go to the top of the company with myself and several other people on this call, absolutely, you can do that too. So I want you to write it down. I want you to sit down and just, if you're I'm a writing person, like just write it down and be visual. Picture what you want in life. And we've got a lot on my team personally. I've got like probably 8 or 10 people, new people that are like 18 to 20 years old. And if this is overwhelming to you guys, I just want you to think of, what does your perfect life look like? What do you want to be doing when you're 25, 30, 35, 40? And just write it out. Just think about your typical perfect day. What do you want? What do you want your work day to look like? What do you want your work-life balance to look like? Do you want to travel? And just brainstorm that why. Okay, so that's your first step when you get into Arbonne, is to really dig into that and figure that out. Again, write it down and revisit that often. Because while this business is super, super simple, it's so simple, y'all, and I'm going to get into the activity and the nuts and bolts in just a second. It's not always easy, because sometimes when we hear no, even though no usually means not right now, or I don't have enough information to make a decision, oftentimes when we hear no, especially if you're not in sales like I have been, and you're not used to, I've been hearing no for 10 years, and I just like, whatever, but if you're not used to that, it takes a little bit of time to adjust that thick skin, right? So revisit your vision and your why frequently, because if you have a why, you will get through anyhow. You'll get through all of the stuff that I'm about to talk about. So write it down and dream big. Don't put a glass ceiling on your dreams. I mean, write, pie in the sky, best case scenario of your life, okay? And don't hold back on that. Don't think of a poverty mindset. Really think outside the box. Okay, number 2. This is so important. You cannot bother your upline. When I first started Arbonne, I would make a list of questions like this, and I would, when Debbie and I talked, because we weren't really good friends or anything, so I felt awkward like calling her and being like, I've got a question every 30 seconds because I wanted to know everything. So I would write down all my questions, and she would say, like, you really can't bother me. But I was like, well, surely she doesn't mean that. So we want you to know that you cannot bother us, okay? Here's the thing, here's the thing, if you were not sponsored by one of us, one of your VPs, if your sponsor, whoever brought you into this business, if they're no longer in the business or if they're not active, go up, keep coming up the chain. Find your VP, find your area manager that's actively working the business. We would be thrilled to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We want to help you. I always tell people, Arbonne is my favorite thing to talk about, and you cannot bother me. If I can't answer, I won't answer at the time, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. So that's the second thing we want you to know. We also want you to know in that same thing is, don't try to go rogue and do things by yourself. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know how to put in a group event, call us. I can talk you through a group event over the telephone, and it's going to save you and me a whole lot of headache in the long run. Okay. And that's not like, it's not going to bother me if you try and then you call. So don't feel bad doing that, but we can help you. So don't go rogue. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. The best copycat wins in this business. So we've done it. We've gone before you. We know what to do. We know what not to do. And so just listen to us. You don't have to come up with any new systems. You don't have to come up with any new documents. You don't have to come up with anything new to say. You don't have to be clever. You can copy and paste exactly what I tell you to, or Debbie tells you, or Karen, or Jessica, and send it to your friends. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? So just know that we don't mind if there's before and afters that I post on my social media. You can use them. If there's a graphic that you like, you can use it. You don't have to ask my permission. Just use it. Okay. So again, don't think you have to reinvent the wheel. Okay. I have to read my, okay. Number 3, you should have gotten an email from your upline or your sponsor when you first started. And this email is just detailing like how you get paid and the different resources that you have at your fingertips. And those are all the nuts and bolts things that I don't really love to talk about. It's not exciting. It's just things that you need to know. Like, there's an app for this and there's an app for that. So if you don't have that email, reach out to your VP and let us know. And we're happy to send you the email that we send or the training material that we send to our new consultants. Okay. That's number 3. Okay. So now we're getting more into the how. So y'all are like, okay, I know why I need to do Arbonne. I know what I want from this business. Sky's the limit. It's keeping me up all night. I'm thinking about all the different people I can reach in Arbonne, and just that's what I did. I didn't sleep for like a month because I would just be brainstorming all night. So number 4, this is one of the first things you're going to do after you sit down and you learn how to use, log into the system, learn how to use your user ID, your password, log into the source. If you don't know what the source is, it's our education system. You can get almost any question that you want answered in the source. And sometimes your upline will direct you back to the source. And it's not because we don't want to answer your question. We want you to know that this is your business and your answers are right there. They're right there at your fingertips a lot of the time. So what you're going to do next, the real nitty gritty, is you're going to sit down and you're going to write a list of 100 people, 100 names. Now, let me tell you, if you think, first of all, I've had very few people say, I don't know, 100 people. I'm like, okay, go through your contacts in your phone, go through your Facebook. If you were getting married tomorrow, who would you invite to your wedding? And just start writing names down. So this is what happens when you think of names. Okay, I'm going to think about this because I'm going to use somebody I know. My cousin, my oldest cousin, Kevin, his wife, Katina, his daughter, his mom, who's my aunt. So you see what happens? Like this little branch grows when you start writing down your 100-person name list. Your list can be bigger than 100 people. That's totally fine, but 100 people minimum. And then what I tell new consultants to do is go back through that list, and I want you to put a circle or a star around the names who you would love to have on your team. You would love, that they're going to be powerhouses. That they could kill this business if they chose to, or if they choose to, okay? So you made your list and you've circled people, right? Okay, the next one is I'm going to tell you the different ways, but the overall umbrella is you're going to talk to 30 to 40 people every single month about Arbonne. Okay, we're going to talk about how to do that in just a second. I think one of the biggest things that you new consultants have hesitations or reservations about is what to say. Like, okay, that's great. I'm going to talk to 30 to 40 people, but A, how am I going to get in front of those 30 to 40 people? And B, once I get there, what the heck am I going to say? Well, that's what your upline's for. That's what your VP's for. We are there to help you. We'll go with you to the meeting. In the beginning, I think sometimes new consultants feel very awkward inviting their upline to the meeting. We can give you verbiage on what to say to get us to the meeting without being weird. Okay, so, but you're going to somehow meet with 30 to 40 people a month. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. First way, you can get in front of tons of people on social media. And in the beginning, when I first started my business, we were still kind of on the fence about social media and how that kind of incorporated into our system. But I'm going to tell you, I did a 30 Days to Healthy Living presentation on Facebook Live a few weeks ago, and I've had 500 people watch it. 500 people watch it. So there is a great place for social media. So you can definitely do that. But when you're doing social media, you can't just do social media. Sometimes people will reach out to you and you'll get some feedback, or you'll have people wanting to buy a product or people interested in the business. But more often than not, you're going to have to reach out and get in front of people face to face, belly to belly. Okay. So there's 2 different ways to do that. You can do that in a group presentation, or you can do that one-on-one. Group present, and any of this stuff you can do virtually. You can do it like this on Zoom, either with a group or one-on-one, or you can do it truly face-to-face, okay? So group presentations, you can call it wellness workshop. You can call it a healthy happy hour. You can call it a party. You can call it a spa night. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But that's just getting 3 to 5 people around the kitchen table and telling them about Arbonne. So if you do that 6 times in a month and there's 5 people at each one, you're done. So if you are super crunched for time and you have the opportunity to do those 6 group presentations a month, go for it. That is the most efficient way to get the word out there. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, of course, that's the best way, right? or the quickest way to get in front of people. The one-on-one meeting is the other way. Those in my business are the easiest to get. I can get somebody to sit down with me and let me tell them about Arbonne probably every day. It doesn't, because I'm going to tell you guys like how to word it and what to say when you're asking. But the one-on-one meeting, it can be 2-on-1. You can have 2 people there and you're meeting them there for coffee. But when you're reaching out to people to do a one-on-one, especially when you're new, you guys have such an awesome advantage when you're new, because guess what? You can say, hey, so-and-so, I am brand new at Arbonne. I'm so excited, a little bit nervous. Would you do me a huge favor and let me practice on you? Right? Who's going to say no? They're going to say, yeah, you can practice on me. You say, I'll buy you a cup of coffee and I'll bring you a sample. It would mean the world to me. And then you just hush. What we discourage new consultants from doing is getting somebody on the phone that you have on your list and throwing up Arbonne on them. Because that's what I did in the beginning, a little bit, because you just were so excited and you want to tell everybody about Arbonne. But what we would really encourage you to do is to take your upline, take your VP, do it virtually, whatever, to a couple of these meetings, see how it's done, see how to keep it business-like and efficient, and how to get everything in that needs to be in the meeting, and take notes and learn from us. That's why we're there. That's what we get paid to do, is to teach and educate you guys on how to do this. So those 30 to 40 people, I'm going to give you some, again, common pitfalls that new consultants make. First of all, they might call somebody and throw up Arbonne on them. Again, we don't recommend you do that. Just say, hey, get to the meeting. We're going to tell you about Arbonne. That's all we need you to do. Let me practice on you. The second thing that new consultants do oftentimes is they forget to talk about the business of Arbonne. And I think that that's a fear thing. People get scared because they don't want people to think that they're the pushy, weird person who's trying to hook them in, to rope them in to do this business with them. But with those 30 to 40 people you're talking to every single month, you're telling the entire Arbonne story. So what is the entire Arbonne story? You're telling them about products, business, and the few ways to be involved with Arbonne. So those are the 3 things that you have to hit, whether you're doing a group presentation or a one-on-one meeting or Zoom or on the phone, however you're doing it, you have to tell the whole story. Because if you don't, you are choosing for that person where they fit in this equation, and that's not your job. It's not your job to choose. We say this phrase a lot, and if you're new, you may not have heard it, but it's not our job to choose for that person, and we have to completely detach from the outcome. So if you think about going and doing a public speaking thing, which don't freak out if you hate public speaking, you're not attached to the outcome of whether or not anybody liked what you said. You're just there to deliver the information and to educate. We are simply educators in Arbonne. And you have to get that through your head early on, and just practice. Just keep doing it. Another great thing about Arbonne is you can't mess it up, right? If you go to a one-on-one meeting and you chicken out and you don't talk about the business, guess what? You're not gonna get fired. It's not the end of the world. Honestly, you could call that person back in an hour and say, you know what? I forgot to tell you about one really important thing. You can't mess up Arbonne. Coming from a healthcare background, I could kill somebody really easily, and that's stressful. Arbonne is not stressful. You just go and talk. Just open your mouth and talk and share. Okay, so that was number 5. And then the last thing I want to ask you is, if you, instead of $49 to start this business, or $79, wherever you were when you joined, what if you would have spent $10,000 to invest in this multi-million-dollar opportunity? How would you treat it? Would you treat it like a business, or would you treat it like a hobby? Because however you treat this business is exactly how it's going to pay you. So you have unlimited income earning opportunity at your fingertips. Is it going to be tomorrow? Probably not. Sometimes it happens really fast. But the only way to fail at this business is to quit. And the personal growth and the business acumen that you'll get from sticking this out and seeing it through and learning how to present the business, present the products, and do it well, even if you don't do Arbonne for the rest of your life, will serve you very, very well. I promise it will. So, yeah, so that's it. If any of the other VPs, if y'all want to add stuff in, or if anybody has questions about verbiage or what to say, again, unmute. This is like, I remember again, to my first couple of conference calls, Zoom calls like this, I was scared to speak up. But y'all, I don't even have makeup on or anything. Should we talk about the brick? Yeah, we can talk about the brick. I'm happy to talk about the brick. So Caroline Stevens just posted a question and said, should we talk about the brick? Let me tell you what the brick is. If you are building a business in Arbonne, and I say that because, again, the first thing I told you is this is your business. I have my business. You have your business. Debbie has her business. Karen has her business. If you choose to build a business and you want to promote through the levels in Arbonne and you want to grow and succeed, what we focus on is a 2,500 PQV brick. And that is earning your personal brick every single month. And the brick is just, it's really, I don't know the right word for it, but it's like it's not real in Arbonne. It's just a building block of success. So 2,500 personal QV, that means selling to clients and preferred clients that you've personally sponsored into Arbonne, not other consultants on your team. These are just your clients. These are people that just want to purchase product and your own personal orders. And if you build that brick, and if you know anything at all about kind of the way you promote through the levels, the second level of management is an area manager. Monthly income at area manager is $1,000 to $4,000 a month, okay? If you are doing your $2,500 brick or 2,500 PQV brick, and you teach 3 other people to do that with you, you're an area manager. You're a stable area manager. Okay, so if there's a really good document that shows the power of 2,500 and how that duplicates really quickly. And honestly, if you're doing this activity, seeing 30 to 40 people every single month, any way you can, you're going to hit your brick. I guarantee you. And if you're not, if you don't, go to your VP and say, I talked to 40 people this month and I didn't hit my brick. And we're going to go, okay, what'd you say? All right. Did you tell the whole story? Did you follow up like you said you would? So we're going to help you figure out, okay, maybe why you didn't. So yeah, good point. What other questions do y'all have or additions, guys, that you guys want to say or add or anything? I know somebody's got something. Nope.
I can add in how important the follow-up piece is, because most people need at least around 12 exposures to what Arbonne is before they just jump in. They're not gonna, they just don't jump in typically. So the follow-up is the key, like Heather just mentioned. If you promise you're gonna follow up with somebody, do it. And don't be surprised if nothing happens until about the 12th to 15th time.
Absolutely. And that's where I think social media is a great way to drip on people and give them the exposures that they need to understand exactly what Arbonne is and what your role in Arbonne is, without, maybe not physically following up with that person. Maybe you're following up with them 5 times, but they're getting 10 other exposures on social media. And just a real quick thing on social media, guys, be completely authentic. Just be you. Don't try to be anybody else. You can copy our pictures, but make the words you. And people really like that. So anyway, what else? Thank you for that. That's a great point. I always tell people to never leave a meeting, and this is just sales training. Never leave one meeting without telling the person you're meeting with your follow-up. So if I'm meeting with you one-on-one and you don't give me a firm answer on where you are, what you want to do with Arbonne, then I'm going to say, would it be okay for me to follow up with you in like 3 or 4 days and just see how you like the samples I gave you? Of course, they're going to say yes. So always leave. Last thing you say is, would it be okay? Asking permission to follow up.
Yeah, and when you give somebody permission and they say, yeah, follow up with me on Tuesday, when you do, you're not annoying them. You're simply doing what you promised. So at no point are you pushy or do you feel weird, because you're just following through. You're actually being a good citizen by doing what you said you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you seem unprofessional when you don't do what you say you're going to do. So, and a lot of people don't do what they say they're going to do. So that makes you stand out when you do what you say you're going to do. They expect you to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to add one other thing, Heather. Oh, sorry. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, you go ahead. You go first.
Okay. Just that it's really like, I think the secret of success in this business is consistency. So whatever your level of consistency is, just stick with that. Because I think a lot of people get like discouraged when you get a no, and you can expect to get discouraged because that's going to happen. I mean, not discouraged, disappointed. Like, it's disappointing when someone says no. It's like, oh gosh, God, but discouragement is a choice. Like, don't take it to heart, because it's just a person's where they're at, and it's okay. Even though they say no now, it might not be no later. You never know, because you keep dripping on them and they're going to be going, why did I say no? She looks like she's having so much fun. So be consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did have a quick question. So me and Allie Bailey and Ashley Bland, we have our group chat going on each week, every day. And sorry, y'all, I'm at a football game. But I did have a quick question. How, if we don't get a response when we send our text out saying, hey, we'd like our 30 and 30 challenge, and then we don't get a response, how long should we wait to follow up with those people if we don't get a response at all? Because, I've heard there's one girl that says she reached out to that Avery girl, she just became regional, 7 times before she even considered her. So, I mean, how long do you recommend us waiting?
I think it depends. Me personally, I think it depends on how well I know the person. If I know the person well and I know that they are just a bad texter and they forget to respond, I'm going to be like, did you get my text? That kind of thing, right? But if I don't know them well and they're kind of an acquaintance, I might wait a week and make sure you add that phrase in there. Listen, there's no pressure. I just need an ear. If that phrase isn't in there, sometimes people go, oh no, she's going to chase me to join her team. So, just again, make sure that phrase is in there with your second follow-up. In my opinion, that's what I do. And then that way, but I mean, I would say if I don't know the person well, I might wait a week or 10 days. Something else that I have found really helpful when you're doing that 100-person text challenge is to send all of your text messages before you look at one response. Don't look at a response. Send them all, you power through them and put your phone down and go take a shower, go to the gym, do whatever, and then look at your responses. Because if you get a negative response on the second person you text, you're going to go, oh gosh, I can't do this today. I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. It's stressing me out. Or, you know what I mean? So, but I hope that helps. Yeah, if you know the person well, just text them right back. And then if you don't, then I would wait maybe a week. A good question.
I go a week and then I start doubling it. It's a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. But they're never off the list until they give me a hard no.
Yeah, and it depends on who they are. If they're just an acquaintance that you met, then yeah, it's fine to let that go on for a long time. But I have learned over the summer through the boot camp, we kind of need to nip it. Get them in the yes or no category as quick as you can. None of this maybe crap. Just.
Yeah, Jessica.
And
what's your advice on how to nip it?
Huh?
So what's your advice on how to nip it?
Nip it.
Yeah.
I do too send out that text that Heather was saying, did you get my text? Just making sure you're okay. Did you get it? Depends on how I know the person. But I just try to sort them to my best ability into a yes or no category. And then I'll ask specific questions. So even with the RE9 thing that's happening right now, I ask them if they want to know details on the deal. I don't just announce what it is. I expect them to answer me back. Therefore, there has to be some communication going on. Otherwise, I don't know if they read it or not. But I think we got to get quicker at this follow-up thing, because if you wait too long, it feels like you're starting over, because you technically are. They don't remember you.
Yeah, you do. I think the exposures have to be condensed. So best case scenario is you're getting those, 7 to 10 exposures to Arbonne to that person as quickly as possible. Like exposure 1 is on a Saturday. They try the samples. That's number 2. Number 3 is your follow-up. Number 4 is whatever, your social media post, or, hey, guess what? RA9's on sale. I mean, just whatever it is, but those follow-ups are quicker and more condensed. That's definitely more effective. What else do we have for new consultants? Don't be scared, y'all. That's the biggest thing. Just go do your thing. Don't be scared to reach out to people. See it like a business. If this were your full-time job, you wouldn't, you would do it. You would do it scared. I think that's the biggest thing. You would go and you would reach out to these people scared. If you were getting a paycheck every other week to reach out to 30 to 40 people, and that's what your boss was expecting, you would do it. And so, you be your own boss and expect it of yourself.
I think one thing that I always kind of learned in the beginning as a new consultant is to shift your mindset to, if you're scared, then you're actually thinking about yourself. So it's about you and you being scared about what they think. But if you're approaching somebody because you know what you have could potentially help them meet a need that they've been looking for, it's not about you anymore. It's an obligation to share and then say, look, I don't know if this is a fit for you in any way, but let me share it because I've got some clients that are in your situation and it has helped them. So it's not about me anymore. I'm just going to share it. You tell me if this is a fit for you in any way, business, product, maybe a group, hosting. But, look, I'm just going to share it. That's my job. So it's not about me anymore. And I think that helped me the most about getting over the fear, because then I'll sit back and go, then I'm making it all about me if I'm afraid.
It's a great point. Yes. Yeah, you told me that early on, and it helped me tremendously to shift that mindset.
It helps you let go of the outcome too.
Yes.
And that's important.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? I think that's all.
All right. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.